Episode 489 of the TV Dudes, recorded May 29th, 2024. My Adventures with Superman, Season 2! This week we're recording a day earlier than usual, because we're prepping for ATX Television Fest, Season 13, taking place May 30th through June 2nd, here in scenic Austin, Texas.
That's right, Les will be interviewing celebrity guests and attending panels starting Thursday. So we're getting a little bit ahead of the jump on our recordings, just a little earlier, but luckily enough, it's not really like week-to-week viewing anymore.
Not throwing us off. We've already gotten to watch what we're talking about this week, but before we
There's no more 97 for us to bitch about.
right. Man, we could stop annoying the whole rest of the world with our opinion about that. But before we do anything else, I'm Les.
And I'm Nick. And we're the TV Dudes. Last week, we were stunned to find out that Mob Psycho 100 was tolerable to Les's sensitive anime tastes.
I mean, I didn't hate it.
Well, I know, dogs and cats living together, it's mass hysteria.
And you actually talked about another anime on your TV Diaries. I believe it was Frozen?
Freakin'.
Yes, that one.
Yeah.
Well, we have a review about
Freerin.
Yes, from Danny Doggett.
I feel like it's not that hard. I feel like you're being willingly obstinate about this.
Freerin.
Nikolash.
I think I got it. All right. What we had a review from our very own Danny Doggett.
Oh yeah.
And, yeah.
What did Danny think about it?
Well,
considering we just we just avoided eviscerating Mob Psycho for him.
right. That went spectacularly well.
Yeah.
Versus how it could have gone. Free written. Beyond Journey's End, Season 1. Is life eternal really a curse? When you walk the earth for thousands of years, is life too long, or is it really no time at all? The latter is the perspective of the great mage elf Freerin. Set decades after her and the Fellowship defeat Sauron, the Demon King, Freerin wanders the land collecting strange books of spells.
Is his name actually Sauron? Not to interrupt your flow.
I don't know. I wanted to look it up.
Wait, her Fellowship? Wait, what's the copyright law in Japanese like?
Non-existent, I think.
What's going on here?
And is all of Tolkien in the public? That can't be true.
Is it spelled the same?
Danny spelled it the same.
Oh, shit. Okay.
I don't know. Freerin wanders the land collecting strange books of spells, a never-ending hobby, even for an eternal being. Beyond Journey's End is a gentle show about life after the world-saving journey, about missed opportunities between old friends and reconnecting with the moments you didn't realize were the good old days. Freerin could be mistaken for an apathetic character, often willing to stay in one area for years to the annoyance of her companions, or casually telling an adult she'll see them in 50 years.
I mean... No, you won't. This is fantasy, and I'm 40. That's
I did not watch a lot of Fellowship of the Ring.
Do the math
or
on
Rings
that.
Of Power, rather. But I do remember that. But her own quirks make her an endearing character, and her love for odd spells make a character people definitely want plushies of. Although she often has a matter-of-fact tone, within the gentle story and the beautiful animation, you're able to witness the humanity that most anime is often missing. Fans of fantasy are in for a treat with this story. This can be watched within a few binges and can be just as rewarding as a show you watch an episode of each morning, which I consider a high rating. Either way, it'll be no time at all.
Oh, I think I want to clarify. I think he's meaning defeat Sauron and then in parentheses the Demon King. Mm-hmm. I think he's being cute about
that's what I was thinking.
I think he's being cute about it. I don't think the Demon King's actual name is Sauron.
Sauron, but basically,
I mean, fucking, if JoJo gets in trouble for it, we can't,
No, but I see what he's saying, that, you've seen that part of the story before. You've not seen the after.
I do like that they skip over that. They don't mention the demon, no, we took care of that part. That's not the, whatever. That's the thing we all knew that was going to happen. This is, after that.
Right.
But yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. I really am enjoying Freerin for the same reasons. I think she's a very vastly interesting character in the way I wish Elrond was in Rings of Power. In that, apathetic, but trying to not be, trying to figure out the humanity of mortality. I think is an interesting story.
Well, I don't know about you, but reading that made me want to rant and rave about the shows that we watched. So let's check out the Diaries.
The Diaries of the Television Dudes. Brought to you by only the finest cocaine wine.
I didn't have any more free run to watch. I finished it. So
I weirdly watched a couple of episodes of what I would consider a vibe anime
oh right.
myself.
Only watched the one, but it's that
I watched 2 more. I watched through episode
okay.
3. Scavenger's Reign.
Scavenger's Reign, that's right. How were the rest of it? Because I enjoyed the first episode. I thought it was a very
continues down that path. Everything, like, all the stories are deepening with each little group, the ship's down, like, all that's continuing forward. So this is a I say anime. I believe it looked like 2 European. I didn't look up anything about this show. I don't know who, but anyway.
But I mean, it does feel like a European. Like, isn't that just like life? Though?
It's kind of got a Mobius vibe. Is the review that friend of mine had posted that
feels like Werner Herzog will narrate at any given moment,
right? And honestly, there've been some sci-fi shows, Oat Studios, Painting the Loop. So anyway, there've been a couple of like vibe sci-fi shows, and I loathed hated them.
They suck. Like
Oat
Studios,
slow, stupid, shitty Twilight Zone, Black Mirror wannabe
Oat
bullshit.
Studios had one story I kind of dug, and the rest were like insufferable.
And I honestly thought that this was going to be a blend between that and Love, Death, and Robots, which I also did not like.
Sure,
and it's not. This is somewhere between Nausicaa Valley of the Wind, like a Studio Ghibli, The Martian.
Well, yeah. That's what I was gonna. Yeah, the Martian element. It is very much like a Matt Damon, but with an actual alien planet.
Yeah. So the setup is that there's a space caravan, literally like 100 trucks, and one of them got lost out of the convoy and crashed on a weird random world.
Yeah.
And the show opens in episode 1 with just a little bit of like 2 guys talking back at the warehouse.
Mm-hmm.
Like, hey, so what happened to truck 73? Like, oh, I crashed on a random plane. Oh, is the company going to go look for it? Nope.
Nah.
And like, well, what if there's survivors? I would recommend them not survive.
I would highly recommend against that.
Yeah. And like, that's just, man, that it takes like a second and it is cold.
Well, if it's freighter 73 out of
something like that.
however many there are,
say something like that.
So the resources to go get it aren't
just
worth
whatever you lost.
Like whatever, yeah. Like
and meanwhile, like, so then you just get to this planet and they've been there a minute already.
I think that's the smart. What I really liked about it, the smart decision I think was to open up where it's been. They don't really clarify it, but it feels like it's been a couple months.
Yeah, right.
Like
seems like it's been a couple of months.
Someone's got is already trying to do a farming irrigation thing with their robot. Some of them have like figured out the biology of the planet a little bit.
And like the pods they land in are a pretty smart idea. Like all their tech is a pretty good idea. How well your little pocket of people or couple of people is doing depends on how well your pod landed. Because everything on this planet is weird. And I mean better to me than Star Trek just having like an odd forehead ridge. Like the way this planet works down to its core is different than Earth.
Well, yeah, like they have
cool. As they discover this shit, man, there's a moment in, I think, Ep 3 where they get caught in a storm on a beach because they're going after the ship, which they brought down out of orbit, which I'd never seen that in a sci-fi before.
Right.
And they're hoping that, like, well, maybe anybody else from Minipod that survived probably saw the ship.
Sure.
Like, cool. Well, we just need to get there before anything here gets into it. So they're running along a beach and a storm starts, and the storm is throwing down little bits of rock, like sharp little bits of rock.
Ow.
And if it cuts you, it grows a little bit like a crystal mold
on
you. And you have to like get that the fuck off you.
Okay.
And so like they managed to find shelter because there's like turtle eggs on the beach. And these huge Nausicaa looking beetles come up out of the water and put this long, like gross tube thing up and like suck up all the eggs and then float out, and they turn up on their side and the tube thing sticks up out of the water.
Oh.
So that the eggs can have air, but not be on the beach during this storm because they'll get destroyed.
Oh, okay.
And one of the 2 people goes, I see what's happening. If the eggs can make it, we can make it. And runs and gets in between 2 eggs, and they just go down there.
Shit.
And like, that was one of the coolest things I've ever seen.
Yeah.
And then beetles fly over because there's a beetle that looks for those things sticking out.
Right.
And that thing crawls down, and it is horrifying.
Right, because what you figured out about the ecosystem immediately,
Something else
has figured it out.
And man, something with a shell hard enough that the storm doesn't fuck them up, that can get man, and what happens next is amazing, and I'd never seen before, and was like, what the fuck?
Yeah, that's
so yeah. Scavenger's Reign is
very
a vibe,
cool.
dude.
And it's another one. It sounds crazy and weird, which it is, but also it's
slow and
it's vibe. Like it's very relaxing, chill almost.
I cannot explain how this show has like a Steven Universe in credits.
Yeah,
kind
yeah,
of vibe.
Yeah.
Which I know coming from me does not sound like it's going to be a plus. Like I should not like this. But it's real chill, and the Martian element of it, like it reminds you of like, I don't know, learning science in school, grade school or something. Like there's just I see how that works. And if that works like that, then this works like this.
Well, and then the pods, I've never seen this in a sci-fi, but the escape pods are mini huts, like livable habitats. Like if you crash down on a planet, you can live in that thing for a minute. Like I'm like, oh shit, that's smart, and probably how we would, I would think, build one of those if they were actually real, you know?
Right. It all seems pretty good.
But yet, in all sci-fi stories, I've never seen they're little circle pods or whatever that are disposable. Like it seems like they're one use and done.
Right.
In most other shit.
Yeah, it's a cool show. It's on Max. I believe all the episodes are out. Scavenger's Reign.
Yeah,
definitely cool.
It's coming to Netflix in a minute, is pretty soon too.
Oh,
like
cool,
I don't know
cool.
what the deal was, but I saw
like
it on
Max.
the new Crossing Coming. So,
and then one that we forgot to talk about before, The Flood.
Yeah. So this was actually the week of X-Men 97 that we didn't get to talk about, and some of the other ones we remembered, but like The Flood is one of those that will leave your mind, except for the fact that every once in a while you remember how really bad it was.
So this is a movie about a prison that floods and fills with alligators.
Yeah.
Right?
Jail. Really.
Jail.
Like,
Jail.
Because it's a sheriff's jail.
And knowing Nick and I, you have to understand how excited we were about this movie coming to streaming. And I cannot express how nobody seems to have really had any passion in this movie about any facet of anything.
No,
like it's not just that the CG is bad. Like we all expected the CG to be bad.
We've seen movies where the CG is bad, or where the actors don't really care, or even that good, or maybe even the director doesn't care. But it's hard to the sound on it was what was baffling to me. The sound on it was crazy, insanely bad. Like
and we made it through whatever that fucking motorcycle movie was. The first one of Amazon Hotbox and
the James Pickard saga.
The first
Bikers
one,
versus Bigfoot,
something like that. The first one of those had moments where the sound just dropped out of a scene, like they just didn't put room tone in a scene.
Yeah,
and that would happen every once in a while. We just go to and the difference in room tone silence and real silence is jarring. But I had not seen anything quite as scattershot shitty as The Flood. I really hated that movie. I was so mad at it.
We went through a long period in the beginning where we didn't realize it was raining because the rain sound effects were so low and they weren't underneath. And then we were trying to adjust the sound settings, and then the music was very loud.
I just wanted everybody to go harder at it. I don't know.
Bullet effects.
Oh man,
when that's during that shootout were really just fucking terrible.
Yeah, I think I was mad at it because I was so excited, and because we watch worse movies that have more love, or feel like they have more love behind them.
Yeah, Casper Van Dien is like the is the only guy there for quite a bit of it, because the other guy
talking about this movie is like slowly finding out during therapy that you were kidnapped.
You forgot Casper Van Dien was in it, didn't you?
It's just like everything you say in my brain just does the montage flash of images, and I'm like,
oh, he was fucking in it.
I just suddenly remembered.
No,
that jawline had no business in this movie. And then I watched a movie, speaking of things that you forget, a movie I had seen before and did not realize it until halfway through, The Dark and the Wicked.
Okay.
Which is a horror movie by the same guy that created The Strangers.
Okay.
Which I deeply don't care for.
You don't like movies. The Strangers, no?
Just the premise, I don't know. It hits on a narrow bit of horror that I don't like, and it's fine.
I like the ending.
So Dark and the Wicked is creepy as balls. This dude can lay out tension. It's fucking cool. It also, man, it don't explain shit.
Sure.
Like a monster has attacked the dying dad in this farmhouse with this elderly mom, and the two kids come because dad's dying, and the mom's like, I told y'all not to come. And
Mom, you didn't say this.
Man, shit goes downhill from there. It is dark, it is fucked up, it's awesome, but also because, like, I never want movies to explain too much. You can't go into too much detail about this stuff without it coming apart. But at the same time, you can err too far the other direction, so that it's hard to plug into, like, I was like, why don't I remember this movie with all these cool scenes?
The audience, so
there's nothing here.
There's I forget if it's a film theory or rule, but there's a convention of how much the audience needs to know some of the rules and how they work in order to understand stakes. They need to understand what powers a person has or what abilities they have, so they understand, does this fight, are they at risk of dying in this fight?
Right.
What are the stakes of this given situation?
This feels more like Dancer in the Dark, where things just get worse for these people.
Hey,
and at some point, they're doomed.
How does this this flying machine work in the sci-fi movie? Is there a risk of it exploding? Like, is there, like, how much tension should I feel in this scene? So there's a thing for the audience does need to know some stuff about a story. They need to know some information about how things work, but some of that is you can infer, and it's hard to sometimes to parse out which things are important to know and which aren't. And I feel this sounds like okay, maybe we didn't know a little bit about the monster in order to know how in danger we are, or if there's a chance of survival, maybe.
Right. Just something. I also watched a movie that I'm willing to bet you've not seen called Daryl.
No.
Acronymed out. D-A-R-Y-L.
Yeah, I have not seen this. No.
Yeah, it's a robotic youth life form. Data acquiring robotic youth life form.
That's right.
So this is a movie from, I think, 1984. It is the first movie Michael McKean is in. He did it, like, right before Clue.
Wow.
Literally, like, right before Clue.
Sure.
And it is very much like early 80s family thing. Like, defense contractor is making an artificial brain, and because they realize that, like, they can set it up, but they can't actually program it to the complexity of a human brain. You have to let it learn, which is a common trope in sci-fi robot stuff. And so they put it in the brain of a little kid and, like, basically put it through school. I love that there is a moment in this movie where the other, like, the Pentagon defense guys come in for a report and flat out stop the meeting and are like, we've never understood why you put it in a child.
We've never got that.
We need an adult that kills people. And, like, it's fun.
Can I offer you a child that kills people?
It is. That's an M3 program. I thought we were here for Daryl. Yeah, it is exactly the movie that I subjected my grandparents to probably 24 times when I was a kid. Definitely a lot of nostalgia feels. There's no way this is a good movie, and there's no way I can fairly judge this.
Your parents probably hated you as much as mine when it was my turn for movie night or whatever. Like the pick, like we didn't. Honestly, I don't think we had movie night.
People stopped letting me pick movies in like 6th grade or so.
In my house, we didn't
Johnny Be Good is the final movie I get to pick for my family.
In my house, we didn't have a movie night, and I think that was because of me. Like, I think we did watch things on, like, Fridays or the weekends, and I think we stopped, and I'm pretty sure it was because of me. Like, no, we don't want to watch anything with you.
I just remember going through the whole fucking video store in Pagoda, Texas with my grandparents and, like, trying to rent everything. Of course, you and I watched a bunch more Crapopolis.
So, man, I was looking down at Crapopolis, and I was like, oh shit, yeah, did anything new come out for Crapopolis? And, like, yeah, a whole another half of, like, a season or part of season 2 or however it was shaked out. But we had, like, 12 episodes or something to watch. It was crazy. It was nuts.
Like season 1B or some shit dropped of Crapopolis.
Which honestly is finding its rhythm. Me
too.
It's pretty good.
We've talked about it not being the bust a gut, like, slam dunk one-liner that Rick and Morty can be.
Yeah.
But it's got this groove it hits, and I really think that they are locking it. Like, the more you know these characters, the better that gets.
Yeah. And
also, I don't know if they're out of order or what, but they do seem to be slowly finding out. We looked up, there seems to be out of order here and there. But they seem to be finding out shit about, like, Zeus and the other gods and, like, how Olympus works, and that,
dude, the space fucking
That's
one.
how they're I wondered how like if they kept this going long enough, how are you going to have this new science
Yeah,
and your god mom?
how it
How is that going to
bumps up
reconcile?
against, yeah, and like Apollo tries to go up into the and move the sun, and like, you've never done it before, and he's like, so
Dad said I'm in charge of it.
but then like I couldn't breathe, which is, normal for me. I don't have to breathe, but like in a bad way. And then I like slowly felt like closed my eyes, and like, that's called going to sleep.
Yeah,
Like,
and he's frozen, and they can't figure out why he's colder when
yeah,
he
like,
went closer to the
how did
sun.
you like how wait, you got went closer to the sun? How
And,
are
like,
you
it's
cold?
it
Like,
is literally all of the like early science, like
yeah,
why
yeah,
do
yeah.
these oranges fall at the same rate? Like
Yeah, it's
I
I
was
highly
really
recommend it.
impressed.
I was having a lot of fun with it, and Chuck Berry and no,
Matt Berry.
Matt Berry, totally different. That would have been a
Well, I
different.
said Johnny Be Good earlier. I think this one started that.
you fucked me up. The he
I fucked you up.
You fucked me up, you generous cat. You truly are the most devious bastard in New York City.
Tucson, Arizona.
I talked to you about the chicken issue. And Hannah Waddingham is just, there's a lot of stuff where they can just say a line and it's suddenly hilarious of just how they've said it.
Right, just because it's Matt Berry or
Like,
Hannah.
it's Matt Berry talking, and I'm like, but Matt Berry is talking. This is great. I love it.
Yeah,
Like,
sold. We also kept caught up on Hacks. I'll be seeing the finale of it tomorrow, I believe, at ATX Fest, and then it'll be out for the world on Sunday.
mm-hmm. Man, the finale feels like this is she got the thing. She got
this feels like a victory lap episode,
because it's in the penultimate episode she got her deal. Like, oh, I mean, she got it, but and they're not going to give Josh or whatever his name is, their agent, the credit he does, because he made that happen. Like,
I love that. Oh man, how they end it with her. The way she finds out is well, what's her thinking that Caleb posted it?
Yeah, because she suggested, like, well, just post it and then they won't go back on it. Like, they'll have to be embarrassed about it.
And everybody's like, that's insane. You can't do that.
Hey, don't do that.
Like, it'll get me blacklisted from town.
Yeah.
And like, yeah, she finds and then she's like calls Josh to yell at him about her posting it, and it's posted because it's real.
Well, yeah, and it's so cute. And he's like, they canceled your test show because they just are going to book you. Like,
well, yeah, because they realized that the guest spot is the test money.
They said that, like, well, your guest spot when you guest hosted was the test show.
Yeah,
and it's like, and I honestly, that's a more cynical but believable version of Hollywood where I totally buy, like, not because she's so great or whatever, but like, wait, it's down between her and the X Games kid.
Did we already get a free test show out of her?
We got a test show. Like, no, this all costs money. No, shut that down. Just give her the thing. Just give her the thing. Like, and whatever. Like, yeah, let's save $1 million or whatever. Cause
right. And also I completely believe that there's no way for you after a bad day on a phone call to believe that that's how that went, and that canceling your test show doesn't mean well it's over.
Well, that came at the heels of the campus episode.
Yeah,
where I thought
where she actually did great, but overall she got destroyed.
What's the name of that actor, the gay man that was her fan talking to her like manager?
He's a character actor.
He's a character actor. He's worked a long time in Hollywood. I've seen him in a lot of TV, and he gives a speech about fandom that I think is I think everyone needs to hear this speech.
It should make its way around on memes the way the
it is
wear sunscreen did.
It's seriously, it's profound, and I did not expect that to come from Hacks, but a lot of moments are like that in this, especially in this season. And his general thesis of like, now that she's popular,
Jimmy, not Josh. You kept calling. He seems like a Josh. I'm sorry.
Yeah. So he's the part of the Deborah Vance fan club, and his idea of like, when he's like, hey, it's all right that she's getting popular, we still love her, we just have to share her now. And the other guy is like, oh, but doesn't that make you mad to like that she doesn't have time for like us or anything anymore. And like, of course, he's talking about
Mhm.
himself and his needs and stuff like that. And he's like, well, no, I mean, you just got to think about it this way. It means we were right all along.
Yeah.
Like we were right from the beginning when we were the only ones that loved her. We were right.
Tim Bagley is his name.
Tim Bagley.
And he's a Wisconsinite.
Oh, good for him.
Well,
Good
he was
bug.
born in Minnesota, but he grew up in Madison. And I'm going to go with
Most people-
Trimpaloo, Wisconsin.
Yes. Okay,
All right.
so most people won't be able to tell the difference between Minnesota and Wisconsin anyway. I'm telling you, there is a difference. But good for him. I honestly, I was shocked at that scene. I thought like,
Oh, it was so good. It was so good. I will probably find a transcript of that and just post that onto our. It's a wonderful speech on fandom. We also were shocked by a show on Netflix.
that's right.
So Shane Gillis is co-producer and is
we
in
were
a
shocked
show.
by 2 shows this week, but we'll
Yes,
do
we
Tires
were.
first on Netflix. Yeah.
So Tires is out on Netflix. It already has a season 2.
Shane Gillis.
Shane Gillis playing Shane Gillis.
Mm-hmm. And he's
basically.
I think he's a producer on it.
Yeah, he's a producer on it.
But he's not the lead. The lead is what's his name? But the son of the auto shop that they work at. Like this, he's the lead, and Shane Gillis is his like buddy, mechanic. He's a mechanic
his cousin, I think. Yeah, Steve Gerben is Will, and Will is actually the lead character.
Yeah.
He's a kind of nebbish, nerdy son of a guy who owns. Man, when his dad shows up, he's a real dick. He's exactly the dick you'd think he'd be.
He owns a chain of auto repair shops.
Right.
And,
Oil change, brake pads, that kind of shit.
Yeah, just general shit.
And the series opens. It's called Tires. It opens with Will trying to leave a voicemail for his dad, explaining that he has overbought by a stunning
stupid
an extra
margin.
zero amount of tires.
Yeah.
And so they're just loading tires in everywhere. And he got a crazy discount on them by doing it.
Yeah.
But also the place smells like toxically like tires. Like all the
Uh-huh.
customers complain. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So it's just an office comedy. It's just The Office happens to be non-office guys.
It's auto mechanic work, which
if The Office were set in the warehouse about Daryl and them,
and
this would be it.
I think the show does a great job of navigating that level of, and while keeping it, you feel like this is an auto shop you've been at. Like, yeah, this feels like how those guys would talk and be, without being outright offensive and unwatchable.
Right.
Because honestly, if you were like, if
I say that they definitely are walking a line.
Yes,
and
it might be too much for
and everybody's going to
viewer.
decide like where that is. But they aren't doing anything that's made Netflix apologize yet.
Right. Well, maybe it's because no one's watching that show.
Right. Might be. I don't know, but it's definitely going to push that button. It's or trying to push buttons, but it's also, I think, trying to talk about like these guys and these kinds of characters, and they exist. And
well, it's the idea of these people and the power they hold in the limited. These are the worst students in your high school, the guys that were in detention or study hall.
It's the back row of your class, and for these couple hours, once every few months, they've got a weird amount of power over you
because they know everything about cars, and you know shit.
Right, and it's that also just normal like office workplace misunderstanding type shit. There's an episode where they try to have make the place more comfortable for women, which is a genuine thing in auto repair.
Yeah.
I mean, like I don't hope this isn't as big a thing anymore, but in college several times I just went to help female friends of mine get oil changes because the dude would talk to me.
Yeah.
I cannot express how little I know about cars. Like it's like inverse, like you get dumber about cars by knowing me. and like but what they would talk to me. And so like they do an episode that addresses that, but also their women's initiative by the most sensitive guy there is terrible.
Mm-hmm.
And Shane, I don't think his last name's Gillis in it, but Shane playing Shane points it out in kind of an asshole way, but also right.
Yeah, I mean,
like we should be nicer to women.
One of his ideas later is a bikini car wash.
Oh my
so
god!
It's not like
it's not like
he has a better
idea.
1,000
a year, but
he doesn't have a better alternative. But in this case, doing nothing might have been better.
I know. I feel like there's just almost no way to not try to sound like I'm defending this show because
Yeah.
I know it's gonna push buttons, but also I was shocked how hard I laughed a couple of times. Like we hit play on it and just tore through it.
Yeah. Yeah. It's an easy watch too.
Yeah, it
very
really
fast.
is. I
There's
found,
only 6 episodes.
right. I found myself really glad it's getting another.
Yeah.
This is gonna sound insane because it's like the polar opposite in a lot of ways. But it kind of reminded me of Bust Down, of just being like
Sure.
surprised that they found this much subversion in sitcom format.
Right. It's not as weird as Bust Down.
No, God,
anything
no.
like that, but like it is an interesting take on it. And yeah, I'm looking forward to more. Not
I'm
shocking.
the only person. Don't go looking up like tires. It's like Bust Down. I guarantee I'm the only person that said that.
It is. It has to be stupid cheap, so it's not a surprise
Right,
Netflix renewed it because they got to be getting it for a steal.
I would hope to Christ. I think the tires had to be the most the set deck of the tires. Is
if
the
you
most
order,
expensive part.
Well, if they ordered a lot of the show in bulk, which is why they got such a good price on it.
That's how Netflix does everything.
Well, they ordered their Shane in bulk as well.
Right.
This is why they got.
We accidentally ordered Snyder in bulk, but we got it super cheap. Let's see. Also, of course, we kept up on Hacks. We watched The Rookie, which is taking a bye week again this week. I'm annoyed.
Man, fuck The Rookie.
I'm so mad about it.
Rookie, you are not good enough to like play with to
keep me dangling here.
But you're lucky I'm remembering you're on every week.
X-Files didn't fuck around with this. And like they could have. Yeah. Also,
I have dropped off of better shows for
right.
less.
I finished out Elspeth. The finale was fine. I absolutely love that character still, but the show was all right. This is one of their better mysteries of the week, but
I can't tell you how excited I was for that show to come on, and then after like what was it, 3 episodes that I watched, I was just like,
right.
All right. Then I fell off and had felt no need to like.
It's not so much Poker Face, kind of a Go Fish.
Yeah, man. Now I want to. Yeah, that is what it is. It's just like the not as good Poker Face.
Yeah. So then I went back and watched Elspeth in Good Wife and Good Fight, and man, she is watching them find her character in those shows is cool, but then also realizing that like, yeah, she's still quirky and noticing stuff and kind of like Monk or Psych a little bit in her show, but back on Good Wife and Good Fight, she seemed to take a zealous glee in wrecking things that were unwreckable.
Yeah,
like oh, you're going up against the Treasury Department and a grand jury indictment. Well, those are unbeatable unless
unless we do this one thing. Like, how do we do that? I don't know yet.
But I'm on it. And like, I so wish that she was the lawyer of lawyers.
So I'm going to need your help on a case, and I'm going to tell you this thing so you can say what I say word for word.
Mm-hmm.
So this next thing I'm going to say, geez, look at all this paper. Whew, I'm swamped. What did she, and then later in the thing, like, what did she say word for word?
Yeah. So I watched a couple of Bob's Burgers. Caught up on the new episode of Evil. I don't know if that
There's a new episode of Evil?
The final season.
What are you talking about?
I don't know if it's wrapping up or going anywhere, and I don't care. That show is so fucking crazy.
Wait, how long was that on hiatus?
Forever.
I remember you talking about season 3. It feels like...
Right, the strike intervened.
2 years ago.
Yeah. 5 years, 10 years, I don't know. Okay, my 3 to 7 years.
When was the pandemic?
What is time?
It was like 3 years.
I'm so glad it's back. I was mad that there wasn't more. You and I went and saw Furiosa, which we'll talk about on Patreon this week.
But before we went, we did watch Mad Max Fury Road again.
Yes, we did.
In prep, which is as good as it always is.
Oh my
man.
God, it is so good. Just such a fucking... It's a long movie and it just never stops. It's so
honestly
fucking rad.
Mad Max, Max has the other Road Warrior movies, and I'm tempted to go back and give them a watch too.
Yeah, same. Kind of like our Monkey Watch.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I don't think it'll be as productive as our Monkey Watch, because that was surprisingly just like fucking banger after banger.
We also watched Henry, Portrait of a Serial Killer with Michael Rooker.
Yes, that's right. Very strange, odd little movie.
Basically plotless movie where he just kills a bunch of people and gets away with all of it.
Mm-hmm.
It's based on a real life guy who did kill a few people. Like, I'm not making it. I'm sorry, I don't mean to make it trite. Like he killed his mom.
Yeah, he
and
killed
2 or 3 other
people, but he's
It's
known as the
really
confession.
bad. But he confessed to 600 other murders.
Which
So,
seems logistically unlikely.
Yeah, so this dude was a little bit full of shit. But Michael Rooker crushes it in the creepy ass role. We also watched Baby Oopsie. Speaking of crazy ass people with killing a bunch of people with no plot, really.
So this is not. So back when we were watching Puppet Master movies, there was a full moon period of like where we had to get a full moon subscription.
Yes, to watch the amount of full moon we watched.
To watch the Puppet Master movies. And while we were on the full moon subscription, we were like, well, while we're here, let's watch shit like Doll Man.
Right.
And Bad Channels.
Right, which paid off.
And then we watched
Doll Man.
Doll Man was
Doll Man's great.
Doll Man's surprise like that's a actually good movie.
That's
like
Doll Man's great.
Not qualifying, but like, oh shit, is this one actually good? That feels wrong somehow.
Yeah.
And then we watched
Demonic Toys.
And all the
crossover Puppet Master one. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's a couple different little creature franchises, you know. And Demonic Toys is kind of the knockoff of Puppet Master, which is, you know, the knockoff of Chucky.
Right.
And Demonic Toys was also an odd little movie about like there was a pentagram, they get summoned, and they were possessed toys.
Yeah, it's as weird as the little demon totems from that one Puppet Master. Like, it's super just out there.
They made a sequel like that was like Demon Toys 2, like it was crazy long, like crazy long time after the first movie. And then so this is Baby Oopsie, and there's a Baby Oopsie 2, kind of like how there's a Dr. Death of like Puppet Master and Blade.
Right. And this time we decided to not fuck around, that there might be stuff we needed to know, so we didn't watch Baby Oopsie 2. We went back and found Baby Oopsie.
I feel like we needed to watch Demonic Toys 2 maybe. Like, because I was still lost. I was like, wait, where did Baby Oopsie come from?
What is this? That movie is so weird. Yeah, still, I'm definitely going to watch more stuff by Full Moon. They're terrible, and I can't stop. Oh my god!
I want to help you, mommy. I want to help you kill all these motherfuckers.
it's they've got one joke, but it works.
I know, Baby Oopsie was the best out of the demonic toys. The Baby Oopsie is the best demonic toy. Like, Baby Oopsie is fucking pretty great. Like, it feels like Baby Huey if he was a killer. Like, I feel like Baby Oopsie should be smoking a cigar, like talking about union hours.
And then I guess the only other thing I watched was I caught up on Interview with a Vampire because I'm going to be talking to some of the cast tomorrow at ATX Fest.
Which you enjoyed, right?
Yeah, it is. Man, I had not caught up. There's like 3 episodes into season 2 now.
Mm-hmm.
And so they're overseas. They get overseas as World War II starts.
Oh, shit.
And so they just are crawling through battlefields and feeding off people that are still alive in a battle after a battle and rifling through people's shit. They come across, finally the war ends and they come to Paris, and there's a theater of vampires, and that's their shtick. Big cheesy fake fangs on the guy that takes the tickets, and it's I'm a vampire, and they do this whole fucking stage show, and at the end of it, they kill and eat somebody, and the audience sits there and like applauds.
That's in the movie.
Awesome.
That's the Antonio
it's a huge
Banderas
part of the book. Yeah. So one of the actors I'm going to meet plays Armand, who I think is Banderas' role.
Yeah, that's a great scene.
Yeah,
because you're right. Like they play it up and it's all cheesy until the moment of truth, and then they're like, and then even I think people in the audience are like, well, I mean, the blood's fake, but it's a fun.
Yeah, and there's a little bit of unevenness in the audience, and then the hardcore fans start applauding, and people like, well, it can't possibly be
it can't possibly be real. So
this season, the first few episodes I liked, but they made some changes. It was impossible not to try to judge them against the books, which I also loved. And then, man, as season 1 went on, it got stronger. Season 2 is off to the fucking races.
Sure.
I can't believe how violent, bloody, and gay this show is. It is amazing. So yeah, I was really happy to catch up on that.
Yeah, I just only on top of that, I watched Super Pets, which
I still need to watch.
I won't spoil, but I'm gonna watch that with you. It's surprisingly funny. Like, I was watching it, I was like, oh my god, this is really great. What they do with Ace the Bat Hound is actually next level pretty funny in relation to like how he's gonna hook up with Batman later.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean the Wonder Woman, like the Wonder Pig, whatever her name is, and then Natasha Lyonne plays a turtle that gets super speed, and it's fucking amazing.
I did watch something else. I watched Detroit Rock City,
Detroit
which
Rock.
had Natasha
Natasha
Lyonne in it.
Lyonne, that's right. I watched a little bit of that with you with
Right.
like the dude.
Yeah.
I only caught the third act of that movie. It feels like,
Yeah.
and that had more needle drops than any other movie I've ever seen.
Right. It's a ton of classic rock. It's all centered around 4 kids trying to get to a Kiss concert. The cast is insane. I mean, in terms of like teen actor, like there's just like, oh, I've seen him. Oh, I've seen him.
Yeah.
That said, it is a stupid fucking movie. I love it, but it is better than How High.
Right.
But I'm not going to argue for it any harder than I
Sure.
try to talk people into.
Well,
How High.
there's only a moment where they actually do pedophilia. Like so, like
Wait a minute, Edward Furlong. These kids are all 17, which I looked up and is the legal age in Michigan.
That's right. No, that's right. We looked it up, and it's technically technically all
but
right.
We did decide that anytime you have to explain that,
Man, but what do you do?
Whatever sexual thing is happening, if you have to use the word technically legal,
yeah. If we're looking it up in like if we're looking up legal laws and we're doing math in our heads on ages, you're fucking up.
Right.
Come on, man. Like, come on.
And, so he has they're at one point in the movie they've all lost their Kiss tickets and they have to go raise some money to buy scalper tickets or whatever they're all doing, and he decides to win it in a amateur strip night contest, emceed by Ron Jeremy.
Yep.
With all his drinks paid for. This is Edward Furlong from Terminator 2.
Yep.
And
an older one.
Yeah.
Let's be clear. This one, Edward Furlong is 19 here.
Right.
And only looks 16 and is actually 17.
He was 21. He's my age. But still, Shannon Tweed.
Yes.
Who everybody who ever watched Skinamax in the 90s knows.
Yep.
Or should.
I would think.
Yeah. Huge part of all the rest of our puberties. But yeah, it's awkward here. It is real awkward. They definitely fuck.
Yeah.
She definitely pays him for it.
Oh man, that's right. She does give him money later. Ugh.
She says it's not for the sex, and as I understand it, if you say that, then the cops can't wait. No, that's not true.
But you notice how you didn't give it to him before the sex, right? And now I feel like if you were like in court, I'm gonna have to ask you, would you have given him it before the sex occurred?
And we're gonna have to get a jury to believe you when you.
Because if you weren't, then you could see how that's transaction. Oh man,
yeah,
this isn't good.
Not good. Not good.
This
Detroit
is not great. But there's other stuff in the movie too. It's also fun with like other stuff in it.
Oh yeah, humor.
Yeah, I watched. I caught up on Loser Ranger.
Oh, nice.
I still haven't met all the fucking colored Rangers. I've only met. Like, I've only seen Behind the Mask on Pink Ranger and Blue Ranger, I think. So there's 2 other, like, I've seen, like, how Red Ranger acts, but I haven't seen behind his thing. Like, Pink Ranger actually goes out and stops an assault. It seems like Pink Ranger's trying to do some good, but even she tells her brother, like, hey, do you actually want to be, like, a force for good in this world? Don't fucking join the Ranger Force. You get it? Mm-hmm. Like, don't. Like you're a pacifist. Like I don't understand what you're doing here. We're the opposite of that. We're actively keeping a conflict going.
Like on purpose.
On purpose.
Yeah, it would have flamed out long ago.
This is not for you, my man. And man, they find another fighter D finds another fighter that's down there with him. That's apparently that's not from the ship. And she goes like, "Oh shit! I didn't realize they sent reinforcements." So like whatever alien thing is here, she was here from the ground zero and they've been getting hunted. And she realizes that like, wait a minute, you would know what I'm talking about if you were, are you from the fucking ship? Are you one of those piece of shits that surrendered? So there's, I don't know if Fighter D didn't know it, but there was a split faction between them.
Okay. So
some
it's
of
even
them
more complicated.
Some of them, like when their bosses got killed, decided to surrender and keep the fight thing going that the Rangers suggested and went along with it. And I guess some didn't, and they got hunted down like fucking dogs. Oh, she's like the last one left, and I was like, God damn, this is some intense shit. This show's pretty good for like a takedown parody of Power Rangers. But yeah, really fucking digging it, my man.
Speaking of shocked how much we dug it, I walked in and you were 20 minutes, 30 minutes into Dune Part 2?
I was 40 minutes
40
in.
minutes in.
It looked like Max was wrong on it. Like I was 40 minutes in, so I was barely in it.
Right, so it's Dune Part 2, though, so you're fine. So anyway, that's when I sat down for it. I don't know if that counts for me to be able to fairly say I saw Dune Part 2, but I am shocked how much I liked the last 2/3 that I watched.
Yeah, as far as its big sci-fi concepts and what it's trying to say about Messiah figures, it gets across in way more effectively than the first movie ever did.
Yeah. Also, man, I wanted to laugh about the infrared weird ass fight scene that made all the articles. I wanted to roll my eyes at the pretentiousness of it. It's
good.
So cool.
God damn it.
It is such a good man. Elvis kills it.
And also, I love that you call this guy Elvis.
Austin Butler.
All the time.
Austin Butler?
Yeah. It's just going to be Elvis to you forever.
Forever.
But he's broken his Elvis accent here because he's doing this weird. Or
I don't know what he's doing.
I don't know what the fuck he's doing. Batista doesn't have his accent.
He and Baron Harkonnen talk to each other because it's the straight up Nightwing Batman. Are you making fun of me?
Yeah.
No,
I don't understand what you're talking about. It's him and Stellan Skarsgård trying to have a serious villain off. But yeah, that scene even holds an artistic value of like, okay, so this is an alien planet whose culture is alien to us and looks completely differently. This is why they're like the color, like the light isn't even the same on their planet, which is why they're probably all pale skinned. It made me interested in the world in a way that I've never been interested in Dune.
Right.
I find Dune infinitely boring.
Yeah, no, this all and it kept stacking up so that by the end of it, I was like really invested.
I was kind of caring. I was like, by the time Paul fully Messiah's out, I was like, man, y'all, I think you might have made a mistake here.
And I actually gave a shit about the moment when he looks at Zendaya and is like, I will love you until I stop drawing breath. And then he turns around and makes a royal marriage proposal to Florence Pugh.
Damn, now, if that's not a way to end a relationship.
Man, Zendaya looks so fucking mad.
I don't know if there's going to be a third movie, but if the third movie's got to be Zendaya versus Paul now, right? Like, she's leading the resistance movement.
Because, like, everybody else took a knee.
Yeah,
and she walked out.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I think she's got to be forming the resistance.
They made me buy because everyone takes a knee to him, but like he proves his shit works. Like he tells this guy like, "Hey, you're praying about your grandmother right now. I know about the story where she lost her eye when that rock fell." And then the guy's like, "Well, okay, he's Jesus. He's our space Jesus. All right,
man." And then the final moment when he turns and tells the Bene Gesserit,
silence.
Yeah, high priestess or Reverend Mother.
Which is the only time in these movies I've seen anyone do that to them.
Right, and it knocks her back
It knocks her the fuck back.
Abomination.
Yeah, like...
And we had to rewind it back because it doesn't even count as a smile. There is a tiny facial tick of pleasantness that crosses Rebecca Ferguson's face.
Like she's like, she knows she's not supposed to enjoy it, but ooh, it's good.
It is an Academy Award in and of itself.
It's a great acting choice. And Javier Bardem and Josh Brolin are doing a great job bringing actual personality to the role.
Mm-hmm.
Because Timothée Chalamet is the boring Messiah figure that he has to be. And
just getting angrier and angrier.
Until he gets full dictator at the end, where I'm like, oh, you're finally coming alive now.
Right.
And now I can't be on your character side anymore. Because I feel like you've definitely you've sort of enslaved these people, man, right?
The crossover moment of like, Paul's kicking out. Crap. Paul's a monster.
Well, I love that most of the movie is like, guys, you don't want me to ride south. I can see the future now. I don't want to do this. Like,
yeah, man, when they walked into like, oh yeah, here's your family's 93 nuclear missiles.
Well, he's trying to like get, man, yeah, like those atomic missiles or whatever.
Yeah.
And he's trying to make it to where like he knows absolute power will corrupt him absolutely, and he's trying to like find another way around it so that doesn't have to happen. And like by the time he drinks that fucking blue water or whatever, he changes. Like he's not the same Paul that was underneath before. I think he knew that was going to happen.
Yeah, no. When she like Sleeping Beauties him awake with the more like another drop of blue liquid mixed with her tear, and like you were like, crap, he's real Jesus now.
Yeah,
y'all are never gonna get away from this.
No, well, I mean, he's
the Lisa Agrier.
No, dude, he's like dead, and then they resurrect him with a tear or whatever. And I'm like, oh man, no, not everyone here is gonna be like, nah, he's fucking. You're never getting away from this now. Like,
and then the other thing that you threw on that really surprised me, I'm gonna have to go back and watch, was Vince Staples Show.
Indeed, yeah.
Is that on Netflix?
This was the other one, yeah, on Netflix that I was surprised, just like Tires. Which Vince Staples show, it's, if you've seen it on like the trailer or whatever, it kind of looks like Atlanta Light, and in a way it is, but it's still very, very good, and surreal in a way that gets across that the black experience or black male experience is just an alien, weird thing to like. I feel like other people are watching this show, like there's two camps of people in the show there, and one are like, oh yeah, that's how it is, and then there's people like me of my complexion that are like,
how it is?
and I'm like, what the fuck is this? How it's a when we say like you live in a different America than other groups, and like this, like no for real though, like it's for just like a different universe, and this brings it to it. Like the bank he goes to is a crazy like
for crazy rich people.
These are like they explain to him like, I know you're a rapper and we like yeah, 3 million or whatever. I don't want to make you feel small. That's a lot of money, just not here. Yeah. And then that bank gets robbed and he knows the robbers. Like he's cousins, like I think, with one of the robbers. And so like that whole, and there's no turn in that episode up until the end,
right.
But not for Vince. Vince is like the robbers don't turn on him. He's just like helping out, and kind of like, and not even really helping. He's trying to do his own thing and get.
Yeah, he doesn't like join really in with them.
He doesn't.
He's still just kind of there.
Yeah, and he's not helping the hostages really. He's trying to get his own loan going, and
he just realizes he can't really leave right now because the cops are outside.
Oh hey man, how's your mom? Like oh man, she got a little arthritis. Oh, that's unfortunate. You should really try some Epsom salt. Oh man, yeah. All she does is eat salt. Hey, you back there! I see you moving. Get the fuck down.
But they just keep having this. When we were noticing, like they're having this calm conversation, and in the background you can still see dudes like dragging hostages back and forth, and like, what the fuck is this show? When they open up the vault at one point in the middle of their bank robbery, and it's completely empty of cash, and there's a hole blown in the ceiling with a rope hanging down.
Yeah,
and they're like, oh man, they got robbed before we robbed them, and Vince goes like, no man, that's a heist.
How are we the second people to rob here today? Like, well, technically you're the first.
Yeah,
robbery.
technically that's
this is
a
the
heist. Like, well, what's the difference? Well, and like you see,
if you get if you do a heist, you're George Clooney. You rob a bank, you're Queen Latifah. Queen Latifah.
Oh man, the show is hilarious.
And how that episode ends when he walks out with the bank manager.
Unprepared.
I won't spoil. Like
my neighbors probably heard me.
I would have gasp. Yo, I wouldn't do that if I were you.
Yeah. So check out Vince Staples Show on Netflix. I know Netflix has tried to show it to you, and you've probably not clicked on it. And I don't see anybody talking about this.
And you should watch the episodes.
I need to watch more of
it. The last episode is the one you fully missed, but I think you were in and out through some of the other episodes. I definitely watched. Just give the whole thing another rewatch, but definitely watch that last episode. The last episode.
Oh, yeah, you said it was. Where they follow the kid, he's talking at his school, and they follow the kid selling weed.
No, they follow the kid selling weed until he gets back to the thing, and you're like, oh, am I following this kid? No, he goes back to Vince, and he talks about his dad, and it's like, oh yeah, my dad was in your grade, in your school. He was also named Vince. They nicknamed you both, and his nickname was White Boy. Your dad was white? Your dad's white? No. And so, without having to go into it, you realize that like, okay, so you were cool, Vince, and this guy was not. And it might have been your fault. Like, they get outside and he sees his dad in the minivan from across the parking lot. The dad whips out a Glock and just starts firing. The rest of the episode is a chase. This guy chasing down Vince Staples in the street, shooting at him with an AK at one point. Like, he pulls out like an M16 or some sort of assault rifle with his son in a suburban minivan. They have to stop because the son is hungry, so they stop at like a Mickey D's. It's an insane episode.
All right.
It's truly.
So Vince Staples Show. We definitely got him.
Every day I see you is a fine day.
Oh, well, now it feels like a good time to mention that if you haven't joined us over at patreon.com/tvdudes, you can throw down $1 an episode and get bonus content every single week.
Oh shit, what kind of bonus content?
Well, if you enjoyed last week's Mob Psycho 100 episode, that was actually a Patreon request from Danny Doggett, who had joined at the showrunner level. But even at the lower tiers, you get bonus content like our review of Furiosa this week, a Mad Max saga.
Yeah, in the TV Dudes at the Movies.
Yes, you are awaited, so subscribe today.
Witness us. And if you want a written review read out on the show, you can also donate like Danny did. I feel like we don't promote that one as much.
No, we don't, and we really should. So yeah, at the binge watcher level, where Danny's at, you can send us a review each week, and we will read it,
and we will discuss your feelings on it.
We generally record Thursday. Today we're recording a little early.
And honestly, go ahead and do that, because that's how I got introduced to Loser Ranger, and I'm totally into it now.
Right? Oh shit. So, well, showrunner was Mob Psycho, but not Mob Psycho. Physical 100.
Yeah, that was the showrunner. But
So no, you guys do often suggest. We make fun of the amount of anime, but no, you guys suggest some great shit.
Yeah. So just go to patreon.com/tvdudes. You're only charged for the bonus eps. That's like $1 a week, man.
Yep.
Come on. Again, and $1 a week, double the pot. Come on.
So for the main course this week, we had a double episode drop on Max.
Right. So, man,
My Adventures of Superman,
it's gonna be frustrating.
Season 2.
Who the heck are you?
Stay away from my friends.
Lois, Jimmy, and the Man of Steel are back. Just three best friends living their best lives,
Let's just go with my plan.
Well, what's your
battling the worst supervillains in the universe.
With this many toys to play with, we can finally take out Superman.
What's your name?
Lex Luthor.
We don't really do desserts anymore. 97 was not desserts, even though we'd updated it every week.
Right.
That was just part of TV Diaries, so I'm not sure if we had to bring the desserts back, or how much time we're going to have to dedicate TV Diaries to each episode of My Adventures.
Because we're going to talk each episode.
There's no way we're not talking about it.
No.
The 2-episode drop, it's immediate. How much, like, we rewatched season 1, and even then, I'm like, it reminds you how good.
How fun, how joyous, how well done the sci-fi of it is.
How cleverly written is what blows me away about it. The idea that when they find his ship again, like the comet they're looking for is his ship that he sent off at the season finale, and that's comes down, and what does that end up being? It's the crystally part of the Fortress of Solitude.
Yeah, and
because it drops in Antarctica.
So we get all of that.
Like it's.
We have over the course of season 1, you and I noticed that, like, did Jor-El just say one English word? Has he finally picked up English? And yes, he has.
Yes, he did.
It all works great. Because they got to it quick, Lois already knows he's Superman, so we're done with all of that. Jimmy is ridiculously rich, and I get the feeling that it's going to be a running gag over the season of him losing money. They
put a ticker up on the screen every time he spends a bunch of it, and
it's finally moving a little bit.
That yacht moved. I love that the flowers he bought. Like, it was it was like $100,000 worth of flowers, or
it doesn't
something.
even move the needle.
It didn't even move the needle. That's how crazy rich he was. Like, and the government conspiracy part of it.
Yeah, so Waller running Task Force X and all of that.
Yeah, man, Waller waking up and, like, asserting the dominance over her day before she wakes up. Like,
so we follow Waller's
the universe gives
what
the universe gives what you give to it, and today you want fire. Like, it is, and I'm like, that is how
how Waller wakes
I feel
up.
like that's how Waller wakes up. Like, that's
so in the first episode back, they go and rescue Lang, right? Or is that
that's in the second episode back. First episode back is just in Antarctica, where they're dealing with the ship, and we meet Jor-El for the first time.
Yeah.
And in a great way, they keep the exposition low, because we meet Jor-El, and by the time we meet him, we have to fix this thing on the ship. There's no time to sit down and explain everything. He mentions that Krypton met an enemy it couldn't defeat. Like, finally met an enemy it couldn't defeat.
And I think that's Kryptonians.
And I think
it's themselves.
I think it's themselves. Like, it was worded in a way where I'm like, I think you're being cute about this.
Right.
And because they're conquerors, right?
Right.
And
he does not describe their empire well. Like, spread across the universe like a plague or something like that.
No,
like,
he seems not into it.
Not sold on.
He's not into it.
There's not a lot of Kryptonian patriotism.
Well,
here.
I think we're gonna see how he lost that eye. And I think he spoke up against, because Jor-El's usually higher in most continuities. He's higher in a he's not ahead of anything, but he's high in the science community.
Right.
And I think he might have spoke out, and I don't know if Zod or the higher council or somebody
They
did not
definitely
like that.
seem aware of them having powers.
But yes, they definitely have powers, because he mentions that, like, so you brought your human mate here who doesn't have powers, and it's like, okay, so Kryptonians know they have powers from the jump. That's again another small change that's insanely interesting.
Right. I'm loving everything they've added to the powers. We get to see his X-ray vision develop. Like, he uses it and it works, and then he uses it and goes, I can't see through that wall.
I wonder what it's made of.
Right.
I wonder what it could be.
What it could be.
Well, his eyes glow blue when it happens, and he sees in a pixel. There's a pixel at the edges of his vision there. And the way I'm like, okay, Kryptonites or Kryptonians know that they have powers. If you were a society that knew you had powers and were growing up with powers, what would you base your technology with if you had internal energy?
Right.
Why would you make batteries if you provided your own energy?
Right.
So all their tech and stuff, like, that's why it shoots red lasers. I'm like, oh, that's not a generic red laser. Those are Kryptonian laser eyes.
Right.
That's their power.
Right. Like you guys' cells turn yellow sun energy into a variety of things.
And
yeah.
And and that's why I think that at least my running theory is that the Kryptonian Empire, and why he's the last Kryptonian, is that, or him and Kara eventually.
They haven't found her yet,
because like they said, it's an empire, so it's not like one planet blowing up would fuck up.
No.
But if that one planet blowing up spread the disease, or what he calls the plague, which is kryptonite, which maybe they even have a different word for it, because kryptonite is just a word for the rock.
Kryptonite seems to grow like a crystal thing.
And so if all of your tech is based on that in all your empires, and suddenly you don't have that tech anymore, like, does all your empires and everyone you assimilated crumbles?
Just planets of people whooping Kryptonian ass.
yeah, and I think, like, yeah, you get rising up, and like or it affects the Kryptonians too.
This does make me concerned of how much dicks might the bottle city of Kandor be.
Man, don't fucking open that bottle.
Right?
Like, I don't think opening that bottle was a good idea when Superman did it. Like,
originally.
Man, eventually he, because that was a bottle, and eventually in the comics he finds a way to do it. And I think, like, I would want the scene to go like, he goes to like in the Justice League hall, like, oh yeah, I finally figured out how to open the bottle of Kandor.
No.
And I would like everybody, especially Batman, to go like, Clark, I cannot recommend not doing that enough.
Right.
Like, oh no, man, I'm going to teach them how things here work on. It's wrong to keep them in this.
You know what? I was always hoping that someone could have all your powers but not be visible to the naked eye.
And so, like, he figures out a way to grow them.
Yes.
And biggen them.
Yeah.
So they're just hanging out in Metropolis. And, like, I want them to, like, for, like, 2 days, like, smash cut 2 days later. Hey, Bruce, do you have any kryptonite? Why, Clark? Why would you need kryptonite? No reason. Did that all the city worth of Kryptonians now walking around with godlike powers not work out like you thought it would? No.
Come on, Bruce, just open the bunker, give me some kryptonite.
Yeah,
No.
think, like, yeah, because it was only a time before someone, like a cop, yells at a Kryptonian, hey, don't do that, and then the Kryptonian realizes why.
Yeah, no, kneel before Zod.
That's but
so I'm so glad this show is back. The art style, the blushing charm of Lois and Clark. When we rewatch season
they
1,
blush at each other.
Oh my
so
God.
There should be a blush count.
There
and
should.
Like,
if I was in college, we would definitely do a drinking game to the blushing.
Their relationship is so sweet, it really should be sickening. It should not really work.
Right. And yet,
and yet it's cute every time.
Oh my God! In the second episode, they give, because the Daily Planet bought Flamebird from Jimmy, and that's why he's rich. But Jimmy's still working, like he's running Flamebird, and they give him interns, and he complains to Pear.
Pear. These interns
don't listen to me.
They won't listen to me.
That...
Perry takes a second.
Oh man, Perry White almost like having to take a knee laughing is one of my favorite moments. And that kind of shit in this cartoon is what just makes it. Also, in a world where for the last decade or so they just haven't seemed to have gotten Superman in any adaptation I've gotten to see.
Yeah.
I get to watch him just, constantly be made evil or taken down.
After a decade of not only not getting him, but being told the nice version of Superman is boring and there's no good stories to tell with Boy Scout Superman.
I got Superman and Lois, which I really liked, and then this, which is flawless like a diamond he crushed out of coal by his own hand.
Yes, it is. Every decision, just like small little things, like flawless, and then him like worrying about his date with Lois in the first episode, and everyone telling him it's not enough. Like it's like, oh man, you got to go big, a grand gesture. And even his dad is like,
I don't know how they do things on your planet,
Yeah.
I mean, on this planet, but
I know, but I would definitely have to do a grand thing for your mother if I had ever fucked up this bad. Like you too.
Kryptonian tradition would dictate.
But also they ditched Jor-El at the end of that episode so that we can keep the mystery of Kryptonians. They realize what they have here. I'm not sure, like they were
and we get to change, but now Jor-El sacrificed himself a little bit, and like it's a turn that gets Clark has a good memory of him now.
Yeah.
Or a memory of him.
So we get the not being afraid of him anymore part, but without having the exposition like, okay, so we want to keep some mystery on the Kryptonians and stuff, but we can't do that.
Yeah, there can't be always a Kryptonian Wikipedia to go check.
Yeah, so we gotta fucking ditch this guy, but like we gotta do the good Papa Jor-El before we do that. And so smart decision. Oh, an atomic skull. They build him up over the course of 2 episodes.
Yes.
And he looks great.
Oh, his design is so badass. And like as they were building him up, we were like, who's he gonna end up being? Who's this dude gonna end up being? What name have they called him? Who is that? And then you were like, I think he's about to be Atomic Skull. And like a minute later,
I know.
Flame-headed motherfucker burst through the wall.
Because they were talking about radiation or whatever, and he was getting bigger. And I was like, well, when he was bigger and he had some green stuff, I'm like, that'd be a weird way to do Bane. And I don't think I want to do Batman villains.
Yeah.
And then they said radiation, and I was like, man, don't get me wrong, Les, but I think they might be talking about Atomic Skull of all people.
Right. For a minute, I was like, man, are they going to give him a kryptonite heart and have him be
Metallo?
Metallo, or have him? He could also
or
be
Cyborg Superman.
But Metallo's who I was really thinking of. But no, Atomic Skull and the design of him is sick. The way his powers work is fucking rad. And also across that episode, watching Lois's dad realize that he's underestimated Waller.
Man, yeah.
How cruel.
Again, like I don't know how blind he must be, because they came up together.
Pretty blind.
They went through that 0 day together. They're the only 2 survivors of the Kryptonian first attempted invasion.
Right.
They are the only 2 people on the planet that realize what's about to happen and are like in each other's camps. I get that, but 22 years and you never picked up on how much
that's just having to willfully believe that, like, well, there's some kind of bright shining line that you won't cross inside you that probably takes a lot of work for you, and you just assume she's also doing that.
This show answers a thing I didn't even realize I was curious about. In the season finale or the penultimate, the task force escapes because Livewire's cell is suddenly like she can use her powers in her cell. I thought it was her powers evolving,
right?
Or if something was going wrong,
or them just misjudging how strong
they were. No, fucking Waller let them out.
Right.
So that she could usurp Lane.
Yeah, sabotaged him. Yeah.
You sabotaged the mission. You sabotaged me. It's a problem you think those are the same.
Man, I can't wait for more of this show. I love it so fucking much.
And then Superman comes in and disarms all those guards. And the background, whoever they got for the voice for the background guy, who just out of the background is like, God damn it, Superman.
Between the guy that literally goes, thank you, Superman, and the whoever does the
like the henchmen are like, they're just frustrated, like,
I laughed so hard.
We don't get to kill any prisoners of war anymore.
Well, we will definitely be discussing this show every single week, either Diaries or Dessert, however we want to call it. But we're gonna be talking it every time. But I think that's probably about it for us for now.
Indeed.
So tune in next week. We're going to talk about ATX Television Fist, Season 13. Are you coming to the fest? If you're going to be here, you can look around for me or Nick. We'll be lurking around the venues. Say, stop by and say hello.
And don't forget to head over to patreon.com/TVDudes to hear what we thought about Furiosa.
And until next time,
TV Dudes out.
Witness us!